A Critical Thinking Guide. Chapter 1. Thinking is a skill and an art form. Reflectional review, the rational thought process to solve problems. My two rules of thinking are reflectional review and the rational thought process. Life is what happens to you during the day called experience, whether at school, work, recreational time with friends or whatever. You're on the move, doing things, not much time for analysis. Many people go home at night and plug into trivial pursuits called pop culture entertainment like the boob tube to distract their minds and never end up thinking much about their lives. Many people are deathly afraid to confront themselves through straight, rational thought. Your greatest teachers are your experiences in the real world, then your analysis of them, and a deeper analysis of your life as the global, spiritual entity that it is. You learn by experiencing life, then going home at night, analyzing it and making the appropriate adjustments. Analysis means thinking about everything that happened to you during the day, how you acted with people, how they treated you, how you performed, etc. You incorporate all of this into your main long-term plan and make a short-term plan to take a baby step towards it the next day. You learn what you can from the experiences of the day, then plan out the next day in advance the night before so you will be ready for it and know exactly what you have to do to get to where you want in life. The way to think things through is not haphazardly in a sloppy fashion, it's by employing the rational thought process. The rational thought process is a method of thinking put forth by the ancient Greek philosophers. It's a logical way to approach problems, but don't rob yourself of your true essence, which are your emotions and attitudes. These always figure prominently when trying to figure something out and often lead to intuition/insight, so bring them into the equation, which consists of the following steps. Identify the real problem or situation clearly. Get all the information you can about it. Think about it, consider all the options. Analyze the probable consequences of such actions. Make a decision based on logical thought and one based on emotional thought. Consider a compromise option. Choose your action, either the right logical decision or a wrong, emotional one. Live with the consequences. You must analyze the problem devoid of all emotion in a rational, logical way based on all the information that you have. You then make a rational decision based on all the facts. If you have all the facts, your decision will be the correct course of action you should take. If you don't have all the facts, your final decision may be flawed. After you analyze it rationally, think about the problem from your emotional point of view. If your emotions are strong enough, they may sway or override the rational decision that you've made. We are creatures of emotion, and emotion plays a big role in many of the actions we take. Determine whether your emotions will change that decision, and if so, will it be worth it if you acted on it? What will be the outcome if you act on your emotions rather than rational judgment? You must make a decision, then take the action that you deem appropriate. Be ready for the consequences either way. In any case, the rational decision based on only the facts without your emotions getting in the way is usually the way you should tackle the problem. Positive use of freedom, but you have the freedom of will to go against this and act in any way you want. Negative use of freedom, and face possible consequences because you didn't act in the right way based on the rational decision. This is the rational thought process and should be used to analyze any major and even minor problems you encounter in life. Commit it to memory. It's very simple to understand and remember. Just get all the facts together, analyze them, come to what you know is the right, logical solution, then decide whether you'll follow it or go against it. Some people call it meditation, some call it contemplation or introspection. It doesn't matter what it's called. The point of it all is that you get in touch with your true inner nature devoid of all the outside distractions each and every day. It's called being a thoughtful person, and it's the closest to your soul as you will ever get, so the point is, don't mindlessly sit in the front of the tube every night and let it fill your soul up. Focus on your own life, think about it, make decisions, then act on them as you live your life the next day. Solving a problem info. Solving a problem means defining it, researching it, coming up with possible solutions, testing them if possible, then picking the best one. If that one doesn't work, repeat the process. Even the toughest problem is solvable, at least to some degree if you are willing to work at it. Thinking about the problem may spit out an answer through incubation, which is your mind working beneath your conscious reality. Solving some problems are achieved by talking to others in a community atmosphere. GeraldMWeinberg.com. The first and most crucial step to solving any problem is determining what exactly the problem is. Decision Psychology Info. Whenever you have a problem, here is what to do. 1. Define it as specifically as you can. 2. List all the possible solutions you can think of. 3. Know your own identity, what you want out of life. Any decision you make about anything important must be made from your own personal point of view as to who you are, what your beliefs and values are. 4. List moral implications, if applicable to any of the solutions. Would any of them go against your moral values? 5. Is there a good possibility that unforeseen events can happen that would change your mind about what is the best solution? For example, suppose you want to start a beachfront business somewhere but an oil rig is pumping oil a few miles out. There is a chance of an oil spill. Should that affect your final decision? What things could go wrong? What could happen that could be a lucky break? How about the weather, the economy, a global epidemic, political turmoil, war, the invention of new products, a change in demographics, falling in love, getting a divorce, etc. Keep options open. Diversify to share risk across several options rather than just one. 6. Consider possible future outcomes of each solution. 7. Evaluate the possible positive outcome of each solution against the possibility of a negative uncertain event ruining it. 8. Make your decision. 9. Take action. 10. Live with it. Don't have regrets. You make a decision. It might not turn out perfectly, but that is life. Keep going. Most problems in life are minor. Make a quick decision and move on. Think the big problems through before you act on them. Some situations are emergencies. You do not have the luxury of time to think it through. Use your intuition and quick analysis. Make a decision and go with it. Suppose your spouse gets injured. You live 10 miles from the hospital. What do? Wait for the ambulance or drive her yourself? Make the decision and do it. Don't waste time pondering what to do. She might die in the meantime. Mix your intuition with analysis. You can improve analysis by being able to separate fact from opinion, hype, propaganda, or manipulation. Being creative will help you generate alternative solutions that other people might not see. There is an element of empathy or righteousness involved with many decisions. If you are in a situation where you can make a lot of money in a real estate deal but it would mean demolishing a low-cost apartment for seniors, what would you do? What if you are ordered to dig up dirt on one of your boss's competitors who is a decent person? When you make a decision that will affect other people, see it from their point of view too. There is a lot of analysis involved in trying to solve problems to make the right decisions, but life is also an aesthetic adventure. For some people, it's about following their souls. Situations don't require hard analysis. It's all about keeping the ride of inspired energy going so the morale is don't be too analytical. Sometimes it's more fun when you're at a crossroads to take the road less traveled. The Thinking Summer Camp/Thinking Workshop. I stumbled on this thinking skills summer camp that said it was geared to make you a master thinker. The more I read about the program, the more I realized that it was a mix of thinking skills as in academic thinking and dealing with life, which would be more in the modern-day psychobabble, self-help mode. Here is a summary of an expensive thinking course. They deal with each of these issues for about half a day. Simply create an essay on each on your own. How do you empathize with others, feel for other people? Can you sense moods in others, in a group? Do you think in terms of morality, knowing intuitively what is right and wrong from an innate spiritual wisdom within yourself? Do you know what you don't know? Where are you a paradox and hypocrite in your life, like saying you're not gay yet being aroused by same-gender bodies, or saying you're a healthy eater yet you're an overweight tub of crap? How about saying you're frugal yet your closet is full of clothes you don't need? Where is your standard of goodness versus selfishness? Your purpose in life is a life of purpose. What's yours? What is a clear thinker? Do you know what your priorities are? Do you shut out the distractions? How do you keep your life simple? Can you spot marketing hype and manipulation? When you think a problem through, do you see far enough ahead to measure the possible implications of your decisions? How do you control your emotions, particularly anger and jealousy? How do you control your base desires for food, sex, and intoxication? What does the golden mean or a life of balance mean to you? What does it mean to be kind and compassionate? What are your own pure thoughts and ideas versus what you were indoctrinated by? Start with monogamy and the idea of raising kids. Is it natural to want to be monogamous? What are your best 5 original ideas to make you rich? Why would anyone want power over others? What are good, righteous reasons to seek power over others? All religions say to be modest, yet human nature and the commercial media encourage us to be vain, be a star, shine above others. What is a good level of living between modesty and vanity? Does what happened in the past bother you? Do you worry about the future? Living in the present is best with a plan for future financial security. Do you blame others for your failures? Many reality TV shows show addicted people blaming their shortcomings on either the way their parents raised them or claim to have been both emotionally abused and sexually abused. When does life start? Is it every day when you create it? Why should the past have any effect on anyone? How pure are you in your essence versus how much of you is culturally indoctrinated values? Do you believe the mainstream media has certain biases? Who pays for all the programs you see on TV? Whenever the Jews and Palestinians fight, why are the Jews always portrayed as good guys and the Palestinians as bad guys? Then when I listen to Flashpoints or Al Jazeera, the Jews are the bad guys oppressing the Palestinians. What is the truth? What is democracy? Do we have democracy now? Do politicians represent you or their friends, campaign contributors, and allies? What are your best 3 ideas for how to improve the world? What's in your soul? What is your greatest vision for the human race? How can you live every day to be as happy as you can be? How can you be a stellar specimen of humanity for you, not necessarily to please others? What does it mean to be a citizen of the world? Should you forgive others for disrespect and other transgressions against you? If you forgive, does that mean you trust them again like before? Is it better to be a patriot for your country or to be a citizen of planet Earth? What is your true nature? Are wise people loudmouth know-it-alls? Why or why not? If you're wise, should you care about impressing others or what they might think of you? Do you save money for financial security? What is your natural state of thinking? What do you think that is all you in your pure state? Think about your own thinking. Do you have thoughts that are more emotional than logical? Where does morality enter into it? What would you say is dysfunctional thinking? What about tolerance for others? How far do you go with live and let live? Where does it stop? For me, it stops with evil people who commit cruel acts against other people and animals. I believe we should have the death penalty for those people. Do you agree with me or think I'm too harsh? Is there something spiritually and psychologically wrong with people who want power over others, who want attention from others? Is there something wrong with seeking fame for its own sake? What do you do every day, day after day, to live a great life? What is self-respect? How do you earn it? What is inspiration? How do you get it? What is vitality? How do you get it? Chapter 2. A Critical Mind/a Critical Thinker. Critical Thinking Guide. We learn little by little, rehearsing what is already known, then adding new knowledge when it supersedes or nullifies what we already know. When we learn something that rejects existing knowledge, we take the new idea and eliminate the old. Pure critical thinking means to consider a problem or situation totally on logic and reason, but this only works purely for the hard sciences. In real life, people, groups, religions, countries, and ideologies all have different viewpoints. You cannot take a question like what caused World War II and come up with one pure, objective answer. You will have thousands of answers, each side thinking they're right. There is a human factor of absolute morality. In some human situations there is no relative answer. No matter what, it is not right to kill, rape or rob. An average critical thinker gathers the facts and analyzes them from his own point of view. A good critical thinker gathers the facts and analyzes them from his own point of view plus the point of view of others. For example, if I was investigating why Israeli military forces routinely kill unarmed Palestinians, I would take the official knowledge from the Israeli government but also go talk to the Palestinians to see what they say. Critical thinking is based primarily on particular skills such as observing, inferring, generalizing, reasoning, evaluating and reasoning. Critical thinking is analyzing statements using logic, intuition, and emotional input. There is one base set of skills for critical thinking in any situation. Every field has certain facts, assumptions, principles, and skills that are a part of it, so in order to think critically in that field, you need that knowledge. Inductive critical thinking generally means you take a bunch of knowledge, think it through to come to generalizations and truths. Deductive thinking is to have a bunch of knowledge and from that, come to conclusions about specific facts. This is how detectives solve crimes. They use a lot of knowledge to prove one or two things. The objective of critical thinking is to find the truth. A good critical thinker has these attributes. Skeptical attitude. Asks probing questions. Intrinsic love of knowledge. Well-rounded liberal education. I've read several critical thinking books. I find them kind of phony because they are mostly academic bullshit. Some are in the education section of the library, the number 370s. Some are in the philosophy section, the 100s. The field of psychology also devotes a greased deal of verbiage trying to explain how we think, number 150-159 at the library. If you are looking for a book to help you think more effectively, avoid the psychobabble type ones and go for one that tries to be as practical and down to earth as possible. I can't explain critical thinking much beyond gathering the facts in any situation, then analyzing them to come to a solution based on logic alone plus another solution based on logic plus your emotions about it and the impact on the people involved. I have what I call natural intuition that makes me think I'm a wise man. I credit that to two things. 1. Learning the reflectional review process at the age of 17 in a philosophy class, which is learning to think logically using facts only. 2. Discovering my true identity as a human being, which is my true nature. After that, I felt I always knew the right thing to do in any situation that required straight-up thinking. I can consider facts and situations without my own bias, from the point of view of all the different players involved. It's something you grow into after you learn how to think logically and discover your true nature away from cultural brainwash. A wise man is a pure logical thinker who has the ability to strip the bullshit away from any situation and reduce it down into the few points that matter, considering the point of view of all the people involved and the impact each different solution would have on them. As far as I'm concerned, there is only one standard of wisdom: to do the right thing in any situation based on 1. Logically thinking it through to come to a logical decision. 2. A moral foundation of not hurting innocents. 3. Trying to come to the best solution to appease the emotions of all the people and viewpoints involved. Wise men in all cultures have to live by some kind of standard like this. There is an argument that Western European types are individualistic while Asian people are community-oriented. Asians may come to conclusions that favor society more often than Europeans, who seem to favor individual rights over duty to society. Even still, they still have to have a moral base that favors doing the right thing for humanity as a whole. A critical thinker, according to conventional thought, is a reasonable, reflective man. I notice that every social science discipline assumes that a philosopher and great thinker is a morally good person. They're wrong, because many great thinkers are evil people. They can think the highest thoughts of humanity, but they use them to serve their own selfish ends, not for the good of humanity, as virtually every philosophy course in college concludes. that high thinking always equates to virtue and ends up as goodness. That's why I think a lot of society's knowledge is bullshit. It's a lie to assume that the results of higher order thinking is to become a virtuous human being. Underneath all our big thinking, we are still animals ruled by emotions. A mild philosophy professor will get angry if the alpha male macho man moves in on the girl he is interested in and could easily do something violent. His high ideas from years of reading philosophy cannot make him a totally logical Mr. Spock of Star Trek kinda guy able to control his emotions totally. It's really noble for all these philosophical intellectuals to say the end result of deep thinking is to become a stellar, moral, upstanding, responsible citizen, but it's selfing. All these philosophy professors are trying to give themselves some game/charisma by implying they're advanced philosopher kings, always ready to do the right thing, but I don't buy it. They're still self-centered hedonists like me by nature, even if they think they triumphed over their true natures through thinking deep thoughts. In my opinion, within academia, they've overanalyzed the simple truths of the human condition within the social sciences to the point of absurdity. You can only go so far in philosophy, yet every new graduating class of PhDs thinks they have to prove themselves, so they come out with new garbage disguised as knowledge. I can't read a current philosophy book anymore because my bullshit detector goes up right after the introduction and stays up until the conclusion. They're the only two sections of the book where they're trying to be real and explain what they're doing. Everything else is the human ego in flight, creating something meaningless and useless. Try number 370.15 or LB 1590.3 at the library. Critical Thinking websites. criticalthinking.org, 800-833-3645. absoluteastronomy.com/topics/critical_thinking. americanpressinstitute.org, Critical Thinking Checklist. criticalreading.com/critical_thinking.htm. criticalthinking.com. criticalthinking.net. criticalthinking.org. criticalthinkinginternational.org. flatworldknowledge.com. Critical reading websites. Learn how to read so that you are not swayed by non-logical, persuasive, emotional, and manipulative writing styles. criticalreading.com, Critical Reading and Effective Writing. ed.gov/databases/eric_digests/ed363869.html, teaching critical reading through literature. Literary criticism websites. Literary criticism is at number 809 at the library. ipl.org/div/litcrit, literary criticism. ipl.org/litcrit, the online literary criticism collection. librariespot.com/litcrit.htm, literary criticism. ipl.org/div/litcrit, literary criticism, IPL. Writing a critique/critical writing. lrc.sierra.cc.ca.us/writing center/litcrit.htm, guidelines for writing a literary critical analysis. ccp.rpi.edu/critique.html, writing a critique. Chapter 3. A Thinker Website Guide. Practical Wisdom Websites. aflourishinglife.com, practical wisdom for clarity, freedom, and happiness. practical-wisdom.meetup.com, practical wisdom meetups. practicalwisdomforparents.com. ramtha.com, Ramtha's School of Enlightenment. practicallywisdom.blogspot.com. Learn What Matters websites / learn what is important websites. alllearningmatters.com. learnhow2learn.com. lifeoptimizer.org. mindflash.com. Thinking websites / how to think websites. mindtools.com. literacyworks.org/mi/home.html, multiple intelligences. nifl.gov/nifl/fellowship/cromley_report.pdf, learning to think, learning to learn. Curiosity websites / open mind websites. The public have an insatiable curiosity to know everything, except what is worth knowing. Oscar Wilde. Curiosity is defined as a need, thirst, or desire for knowledge. If you thirst for knowledge, you live for truth and beauty. You eventually realize truth is your true nature. Your natural code tells you to live by your true nature, explore what inspires you and who you are, which includes your sexual and aggressive nature while not breaking any laws. 21stcenturyacademy.com Active.com Odaringadventure.com allifemorinteresting.com all-the-observations.tumblr.com innovativequery.com home.ubalt.edu/bbrownstein/papers/webteaching.html storyofmylife.com insighttsfour51.com bestworldliterature.jimdo.com curiosity.com curiosity.discovery.com curiouscatblog.net curiousgoldmans.wordpress.com curiousmitch.com, The Ramblings of One Curious Guy daily-inspirations.com/insatiable-curiosity daminteresting.com deepcuriosity.com personal-development.com philosophyetc.net pickthebrain.com watchfreaks.com waysmysteryschool.tripod.com wikihow.com/be-interesting wikihow.com/exercise-and-open-mind wikihow.com/have-and-interesting-life Great Mind websites/interesting life websites 7steps2success.net aboutadidam.org/readings/gorilla_sermon abundance-and-happiness.com accessing eourhigherself.wordpress.com applying the law of attraction.com